Welcome to another episode of Fourth and Wine. I am your host, Sasha. If it's your first time tuning in, thank you. If it is not, welcome back. This is Fourth and Wine. We're going to talk Eagles, we're going to talk football, and we're going to pour up a glass. And it has been a rough week in Philly sports, let me tell you. Just with the Phillies, the Eagles with 2 losses in 1 week. It's just been rough. I've had a very emotional week. So we really gonna need this glass today, I'm telling you. So keep listening. You are checking out Fourth and Wine. So look, we're gonna pour this glass up. We're not gonna waste any time this week, okay? We need a glass. And we're gonna pour up a little heavy. Heavier than I probably should pour. But we're trying a Chardonnay today. It is a local Chardonnay from a local winery. And there are 3 regions that are known for Chardonnay: Burgundy, France, Australia, and California. And this wine is from Jersey, okay? It is from Jersey. I picked this wine up from Sherratt Winery. I don't know why I said it like that, but Sherratt Winery. It is a Chardonnay, which is a white wine. And honestly, when I went to visit the winery, it was first, beautiful. 2, it was so funny because during the wine tasting, we're talking to the guy behind the bar who's serving the wine. And come to find out, he is related to my fiance. And like a second cousin or something. Just such a weird turn of events. And what are the chances that you meet a second cousin or whatever twice or however many times removed? But he did. He did. Of course he did. Anyway, this wine, the grapes were harvested in 2023. And I think what really makes this Chardonnay unique is where it is grown. So being grown in New Jersey, you have your warm months, you have your cool months, and that can create a dynamic range of wine. You can get really fruitful, really tropical wine in warmer climates or even warmer seasons. Or you can get something a little bit more citrusy, a little bit on the drier side, maybe higher in acidity with some of the cooler climates. So it could be the same grape, but depending on the climate, you can get a range of flavors, a range of textures, styles. So I think that's what's really cool about the Northeast region for growing wine. Typically, it is on the cooler side throughout its growing process, but you just never know what you're going to get. So let's drink up and let's see what this wine is talking about. I actually have not tried it. I typically don't even like Chardonnay, so I didn't try it during the wine tasting, but I did purchase the bottle. So let's see. Definitely acidic, like a lot of white grapes and white wines are. It is very citrusy. So like lemon, maybe like a green apple flavor. And I would say it's pretty light bodied. I wouldn't say it's heavy in my opinion. It is water. It's leaving my mouth watery, so it definitely has some acidity to this. But Being as though Chardonnay is not my favorite, neither was this week. Neither was this week. This was such a rough week for Philly sports. So first, the Phillies lost the NLDS, which I don't put my emotions in the Phillies. I feel like with the Phillies, we go into every season with the same players, the same everything, expecting different results, and are always let down. And it's called Red October, but it was like a red week, okay? 9 days, nine days into October, and we lost to the LA Dodgers, whom everyone just knew we were going to blow out. But Shohei Ohtani, I mean, him, that team, I don't even really watch baseball like that. But they showed they showed us one. This isn't a Phillies show, but I will say I hope they bring Kyle Schwarber back. I really do. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's get into, however, what else I didn't like. Not just the Phillies this past week. Let's talk about the Birds. Last Sunday, we woke up 4-0. Once Sunday ended, we were 4-1. And then later on that week, we were 4-2. I woke up Sunday undefeated. Woke up Friday 4-2. In a blink of an eye, how things change. We lost to the Broncos and the Giants within a 5-day span. And such a random set of teams to say the Super Bowl defending champs lost to. I always like to start off with the good things and talk about the good things, but I'm going to be real. Let's just talk about the problems, okay? Because there's enough of them to take up a full 30 minutes. So what is the real problem with this Eagles team? What the heck is it? I'm not going to focus specifically on the Giants, but I'm going to talk about this team as a whole. The team has lost, obviously, 2 straight games. There have been injuries. There's been locker room chatter. There's just like a lot going on. And when you're losing, and then there's locker room chatter, it's like stirring the pot for media to just like pounce. So the most obvious issue with this team, and it has been since the offseason, since training camp, is CB2. It's CB2. Quinyon Mitchell, obviously, is the Eagles' starting corner. And then opposite of him, starting, is Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson was hurt, injured. Keely Ringo came in. But neither of them have really shown up and really taken the starting position. Adoree Jackson, let's start with him, has been less than amazing. He has 11.9 yards per reception allowed this season. Sure, during week 5, he was a little banged up, possibly. Week 6, sorry. but he can't stop a nosebleed. Keely Ringo. And if y'all listen to me, if y'all listen to my episodes from previous seasons, you even listen to my episodes this season at the beginning of the season, last week even, I have been an advocate for Keely Ringo. I don't know why I like Keely Ringo so much. I do. I am rooting for him. Now, after week 5's game against the Broncos, I was not overly impressed by Keely Ringo's performance. However, I feel like you give him more time. Like there's always room for there's always room for growth, that he can really do it. I'm like, I know he can do it. He's just so close. I know if he's given more opportunity, he can do it. I was expecting coming into the season, like obviously coaches and staff were expecting Keely Ringo to steal the starting spot. Essentially, during the offseason, they said, Keely, the spot is yours. It is yours. And it is also yours to lose. And he lost the starting spot to Adoree Jackson, a veteran who's been in the league since like 2017. But Keely, baby, he has given up over 15 yards per reception. And I really want to believe in him. But if you look at the numbers, year 3 for Keely is not looking good. And there should be some upside at this point. Initially, let me take a sip. Initially, when Keely Ringo was a rookie, I'm like, you got to give him some time. He's a rookie. We were a dumpster fire of a team with Sean Desai and all the other stuff that was going on. But heading into year 3 with the same defensive coordinator, I am looking for him to be a lot better. And I'm rooting for him to be a lot better. But based on the stats, if I got 15 yards per reception allowed versus 11 yards per reception allowed with Adoree Jackson, you tell me. I'm going to take Adoree. I'm going to take the lesser of the two evils. But realistically, they both evil. They both not evil. But like they both have not been playing well. Now, I can make excuses for him too. I can definitely make excuses. But those guys have to execute. But we're in October at this point. How much time do they need? So, I mean, I can make excuses. And here's a few. Here's a few excuses I'd make for Adoree and Keely. Pass rush. Let's just start there. Pass rush. The pass rush is there sometimes, very inconsistent in my opinion, and it has struggled. While Joshua Uche, he's been playing semi-well. He has 13 pressures on the season. I still think there's room for improvement. I do want to see more sacks, but pressures are good. Zadarius Smith has some sacks on the season. Zach Bond. But there are struggles with disrupting the quarterback here. And I'm going to take it back. I'm going to take it back to where this defense truly fell apart. It fell apart in the offseason. Milton Williams leaving in the offseason. When Milton Williams was on the team, he played 48% of the snaps. How do you move on from a player like that? Now, in turn, this means Jordan Davis has to play more snaps. And yes, he has gotten into shape. He has slimmed down. And I think, he has taken a step forward. But in 2024, Jordan Davis played 37% of the snaps. In total, he played 388 snaps during the year. We are in week 6, and Jordan Davis has played 261 snaps. What's being asked of him is a lot more than before, and that takes time. Outside of the personnel on the team, we also got to be realistic. The injuries on defense have hurt us. Jalen Carter did not play week 6 against the Giants. And I get the need to rest him. I do. But against a divisional opponent, it's just like you can't take the risk of not playing. However, I do understand why he didn't play. Like, give him a minute to rest. It is a very short week, and that can be overwhelming on one's body. 100% understood. I even read that it was possible because he had a heel injury that they did not want to take a chance with having Jalen Carter play in week 6 because of the turf in MetLife Stadium. And everybody know about that turf in MetLife Stadium. Aaron Rodgers knows about the turf in MetLife Stadium. Many people do. Hell, Saquon knows. Nakobe Dean. He's been out since last season. Our wild card game against the Green Bay Packers. He hasn't played since last season. He was active for week 6. He played, but very, very limited capacity, which is fair. Gotta knock some of the dust off with that. He played a total of 6 snaps, and those snaps were only on special teams. Shahad Campbell was on the injury report to start the week. Might have been very minor, obviously, because he played in week 6. But he had a bicep injury. So he's a little banged up, I'm sure. Quinyon Mitchell left the game with a hamstring injury. That is what truly also hurt us during week 6. Because now you don't have the only corner that's actually going to shut down a wide receiver. You don't have him on the field. He is out. He is done. You don't have Jalen Carter at the line. Heck, you don't have Nolan Smith. He's on IR and likely won't be back until week 10 when we play the Green Bay Packers. It all starts up front. So that's an excuse I can make for why play might be a little subpar when it comes to the cornerback position. But realistically, Adoree Jackson and Kelee Ringo, they've got to step up. There's no, they're not playing well. Keely Ringo this week. It's with the pass interference call, which afterwards he said he felt like the receiver pushed off on him. And, maybe so, but like, take some accountability. And maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe he does. But I feel like in we can't call that the pass interference. Who cares? Like, okay, it happens. It happens to Quinion. It happens to the best of the corners. Like, who cares? But Keely has got to step up. He gave up about 73 yards in week 6 of Jackson Dart's 120 yards, I believe, heading into maybe the fourth quarter, the third or fourth quarter. Dory Jackson didn't play well either. Jackson Dart had a total of 195 yards, less than Jalen Hurts, by the way. And Adoree Jackson allowed 5 receptions for 103 yards. You're telling me Adoree Jackson was responsible for over half of Jackson Dart's passing yards. Another thing with Adoree Jackson that I noticed after the fact, I'm scrolling through Twitter and all that other stuff. I realized that there was a blown tackle on Cam Skattebo where the Giants were at the goal line and Skattebo scored a touchdown. LaShawn McCoy called him out on Twitter and said, "It's time to retire. Come on, bro. This crazy, super soft." Wow. So Giants are lined up at the goal line. Adoree Jackson gives this soft shoulder tackle. He doesn't wrap up. Doesn't make a full-blown tackle. It looks like it is a tackle with little to no effort. And Skattebo, as many times as I hear his name, you ain't never going to get it right out of me. Cam Skattebo scores a touchdown. Our defense gave up a total of 34 points. 34 points. No, but the offense, they're not getting off that easy either. I need a little more. Offense scored a total of 17 points with 0 points in the second half. Sure, and I will give the Giants credit for playing well, taking advantage of opportunities, defense playing well, but a lot of what is going wrong with this Eagles team is the Eagles doing it all to themselves. While personnel might not be the best, this team has yet to execute. They are just not executing. Being in proper position and just not following through. The Eagles cannot seem to figure this out. We've been hearing it since last season. Passing offense has struggled. And yes, it has. Jalen has got to play better. Jalen's first interception of the season happened in week 6 against the Giants with Cordell, I don't know, Flotty. I don't even know. I can't even remember how you pronounce his name. Never heard of the man until the interception. And maybe that's just my ignorance. But his first interception of the season. And let's just like paint a picture. So it's 17-27. The Giants are at the 15-yard line. And the throw was to Jahan Dotson. The ball placement was poor. It was, Jalen, truly. But if his man is covering him that much and can undercut whatever route he got going on, if that window is too tight for you to throw into, you had two other receivers open. So for one, he could have thrown it to Dallas Goedert. Gained a few yards. We are at the Giants 15. So we are in the red zone. You could have thrown it to Dallas Goedert, gotten a few yards. It's second down. Get what you can get. And let's try and do something on third down. You practice third down a lot. Like that is the bread and butter of a lot of teams. You could have thrown it to Dallas Goedert. And more importantly, if you really was moving through your progressions properly, if you really saw it, you could have thrown it to your number one receiver, A.J. Brown. He's in single coverage and in the end zone. Sitting in the end zone with a straight dime. The performance in the second half is on Jalen, and I hate to be critical of the team that I love. Truly, I do. Calling people out, I hate it. But hopefully they're calling each other out and holding each other accountable in the locker room anyway. But this is on him. And I could go in and like just compare Jalen to a few other quarterbacks that have, played in week 5, week 6 and say, the stats kind of look similar, yada, yada. Yeah, maybe. But this offense looks just a little different. I feel like this is Jalen's team. He is the leader. Things run through him. You got to make sure everybody, all of your receivers, your entire offense is on the same page as you. You are the leader of the team. If they're not on the same page, you got to get them there. Maybe you do need, I don't know what's going on to say what he does need to do and what he doesn't need to do and what's happening. But gotta do something, baby. Gotta do something. Jalen had a QBR of 30 after week 6. Offense also might be struggling due to play calling. I said last week, I don't think it's one particular thing. I think it's a culmination of things all happening at once. Because everything isn't going to be perfect all the time. But when nothing is perfect any of the time, you get 2 losses in 5 days. So Coach Kevin Patullo, another offensive coordinator. I get it. The change of offensive coordinator since Jalen has been the starting quarterback has been tremendous. Shane Steichen was the only offensive coordinator that Jalen had for more than 1 year. He plays well enough to get these men promoted for sure. But at what cost to the team, and at what cost that our team doesn't have the consistency? Because while an offensive coordinator change does affect Jalen because the offense does run through him, imagine other players every year getting a new coordinator or somebody running the offense and calling the plays every single year, a new person. And I listened to a commentator earlier mention how players like Jordan Love thrive and it works to their benefit because they have had the same coordinator for 3 seasons, 3 years. Jalen has not had that same opportunity. And to his credit, I guess it's a good thing because your team is doing well enough. Your team, as the leader, your team is doing well enough to get these men promoted. But if you can't adjust, like if this team can't adjust to a new offensive coordinator every year, the offensive line has been bad too. Poor execution. I talked about it last week on a pod. The last 2 weeks, honestly. But I specifically broke down the play on the last pod about poor execution of that offensive line. And it's due to injuries. I think injuries play a part in that. Lane Johnson was injured. Now Landon Dickerson is injured. He did not play in week 6. I think he left the game in week 5 early. This is just not a world, though, that the Eagles team is familiar with. Having an offensive line that is struggling. We have always had the best offensive line in the league. Many years of success. Stoutland University, they call it. But they are not executing on every play. Sometimes, though, Jalen does have the cleanest pocket to throw from. And then other times the line struggles and can't seem to execute on plays where Saquon can run the ball effectively. I think some of Saquon's struggles, if not all of Saquon's struggles, have come from having a poor offensive line execution. This Eagles offense with a new offensive coordinator, and honestly with many offensive coordinators, because the same thing was said about Brian Johnson, is that the play calling is simplistic. It is simple. Their routes, their schemes are simple. Why is this Eagles offense so simple? Who truly knows? You think there'd be some complexity when you have players like Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens. Like when you've got this is an elite team, honestly. On paper, this team is elite. Does Jalen need it to be simple? Is that why it is the way it is? Can Jalen not process and do too much? He can't. You got to keep it as basic as possible for him to be successful. Is this just what Kevin Patullo knows? Is this just what Kevin Patullo can do? Has Nick Sirianni requested that this be the way the offense is run? I don't know. I could speculate everything about this team. I could speculate every single thing about this team. But I wholeheartedly believe that there's a combination of everything. I don't know if it's more of one thing than another, but I think it is a combo of many things. But let's get into our segment. Is the glass half full or half empty? This is a sloppy team. The details. You realize that the details are missing sometimes with this team, and this is why they falter. AJ Dillon with the fumble after a huge gain. Jalen Hurts, his interception this past game. Special teams making poor decisions. And Tank Bigsby just not being all the way there when it comes to kick and punt returns. Like, I don't know what's going on with that. The last drive of the half. Coaching didn't push to get a playoff. No timeouts. They didn't line up fast enough. I don't know why the details have slipped through the cracks, but that's something that Nick Sirianni will have to address. This is his team. The details are important. And I feel like he knows this, obviously. He's preached this many a times, but we got to make sure this team gets back to the details. All of it compiled together is disconcerting. What's most disconcerting about this team is all of the AJ Brown noise right now. That's coming from the media, coming from him. He has been very vocal recently about the lack of on offense, about the struggles of this offense. And it's fair. I think he's fair to be frustrated. I think he has a right to be frustrated. He wants the best for his team, obviously, but also he wants to be able to contribute. He should be. He's being paid, and he is our number one receiver. But I don't know. Is it deeper than that? I have no idea. Maybe not. Our receivers had little to no involvement in this offense, and we've struggled. We've won by the skin of our teeth. But AJ has been frustrated, and his demeanor has shifted the conversation from what's actually going on the field to him in the locker room and whatever is going on with him and Jalen. And as much as him and Jalen deny anything, the media keeps putting it out there that him and Jalen have an issue. Him and Jalen have an issue. And maybe they do. Maybe they do. But AJ's demeanor at this point doesn't seem overly frustrated. It seems indifferent. I don't know what's gotten him here, but this is not what you want to see with your number one receiver. I mean, other teams have gone through it. I'm just saying, I just don't see how this narrative or whatever is going on around them helps them and pushes them to a Super Bowl. As long as all of this keeps happening, the media keeps stirring the pot, I think it's just going to stir whatever is going on in that locker room even more. People just going to make things up. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? But also, I feel like, AJ, you giving them some things on a platter. You can't give people too much. And like I said, he's been vocal recently, and the media is latching onto that. You can't frustrate him, but the noise outside looking in seems unnecessary. I'm not blaming AJ for being frustrated. I'm not blaming Jalen for being even killed throughout this whole process. I will just hope and I will have the utmost confidence that AJ talked to his team before being outwardly frustrated with the media. I hope he talked to his quarterback. I hope he talked to his teammates. I hope he talked to his coaches before the tweets, before whatever direct interview he got that got turned around and flipped into something that he didn't necessarily mean. I hope all of this was laid out in their locker room. I don't want to see this. I wish things were perfect. I wish things were good. I just hope there's some communication going on between the players to do better, to execute, to elevate. I hope people aren't shutting down and just like, well, another week. Because we are 4-2. There's a lot of football left. And they try to add more games in the next few years. It's a ton of football left and a ton of opportunity left to be, I don't care. I don't care what happens. So I hope they're having those conversations outside of whatever we see in the media. I am doing my best not to hear and take the things that I've seen in the media full on, because the media can paint whatever they want to, however they want to. But the next few weeks, we got 2 more games before the bye. I don't think they should be rough for the Birds, but we are playing the Minnesota Vikings and we see the Giants again. Like, who made this schedule? I don't know. But we see the Giants again. So soon, so quick. Right before the bye. So, is the glass half full or half empty with me? It's half empty right now at week 6. It's half empty with me. I am not confident at this time that we'll go into next week and everything will be fixed and hunky-dory. I think there's a lot of things to work on, but we playing NFC teams. We have got to win these games, especially against NFC opponents and especially against the Giants, our divisional opponent. We're on a mini bye right now because we had a short week. So hopefully some of these players, a lot of these injuries and things going on, they get a chance to recover and relax. But after our game against the Giants, week 9, we have a actual bye week. And then we come out the gate hot and we have to come ready and prepared. If I need to come and get this team an intervention, hell, I will. I will. But after the bye, we play the Packers, the Lions, then the Cowboys. Will these issues get resolved by then? I don't think so. I don't think this is something that can be solved in a week. But in the National Football League, it needs to be solved in a week. That's all you got between every single game. You've got to come with a new game plan. You've got to come with new strategies. You've got to come ready to play quickly. And this team seems like they are trending in the wrong direction. So we'll see. Maybe I'll change my tune after we play the Vikings and I'll be back on the happy train. I mean, it's still go birds every single time. Till I die, it'll always be go birds. But I don't know. I don't know. What do y'all think the issues are with this team? Y'all think we can get these resolved before week 7? Do y'all think we can get these resolved before we hit the gauntlet after the bye? Do y'all think we can get these resolved to make it to the playoffs? Because the Bucks are looking good. They're losing players left and right with injuries, and they are showing up. The Packers are looking good. So we'll see. Anyway, if you had a rough week with Philly sports, make sure you grab yourself a bottle of wine. Specifically, grab a little Chardonnay. You can sip this and melt away. I got this from Sherrod Winery in New Jersey, not too far from Philly, 12% alcohol. It's pretty good, honestly. And Chardonnay isn't my favorite thing. But that's all the time that I have today. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tune in, check in. I'll be back next week after we play the Vikings to give my opinions. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram at For the Bird Sports. Be on the lookout for Sasha's quick slants ahead of the Minnesota Vikings game, and I'll tell you all the things I think we need to do to win. But until next time, peace.